This video is not sponsored by the Dutch East India Company. More on them later. In our last video, we were talking about how and why Spain wanted to conquer the New World, which leads us right into this video about the Conquistadors. One of the early conquistadors was Diego Velázquez de Cuéllar. He sailed with Columbus on his second expedition to the New World. And once he got there, he never returned to Spain. He landed on the island of Hispaniola, which is modern-day Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Life on the colony at first was rough. Many colonizers died or left because of the dangers, but Velázquez stayed it out. And it paid off, because by 1511, he was one of the richest and most powerful people on the island. That's when Spain decided to send him over to Cuba and conquer that. He brought along some notable future conquistadors, who we'll talk about later in this video, on his expedition, where almost immediately they met fierce native opposition. But Velázquez and another conquistador who joined him, named Pánfilo de Narváez, conquered all of Cuba. And they even found gold later on. After this, Velázquez turned his attention to the rest of North America. So he sent this guy, Francisco Hernández de Córdoba, from Cuba to the Yucatan Peninsula, where he came across the Mayans. The Mayans are interesting for their interest in astronomy, calendar, and even mathematics, which is pretty cool if you ask me.
Cool. What did he do when he found them?
There may have been a huge battle in which Córdoba himself was injured before they returned to Cuba.
Ooh.
Not good. That's why Velázquez sent Grijalva to go to the Yucatan Peninsula to collect riches. But 8 months later, he came back with pretty much nothing. Ugh, how am I going to get valuable foreign goods now? Well, you, my friend, could use our not sponsor, the Dutch East India Company. Is he going to be okay? The Dutch East India Company has a government charter from the Netherlands to go to, you guessed it, the East Indies and Asia to collect valuable foreign goods, such as spices, silk, livestock, even tea. Wow, how did they get access to all of that? Oh, simple. The government allows them to declare war, make treaties, establish their own colonies, and even print their own currency. Since when could companies declare war? And viewers of our channel can get 20% off of Dutch East India products simply by clicking the link in the description. Also, the Dutch East India Company totally still exists today and definitely didn't cease to exist like 300 years ago. Back to the video. Due to the problems with Grijalva, Velázquez decided to send Cortés to the New World. Reluctantly, though.
Why so reluctantly?
Well, remember when I said that on his conquest of Cuba, Velázquez brought along a few future notable conquistadors?
Yeah.
One of them was Cortés. Now, while he was there, Cortés made an impression on Velázquez of being very ambitious and And one day, he decided to start a coup to take control from Velasquez. But he was caught and was almost executed. But thankfully for Cortez, he wasn't.
Wow, what happened?
Well, Velasquez's worst fears were confirmed when he learned that Cortez went rogue and took all of the glory for his conquests for himself. But then, whoa, what the heck? That's a lot of gold. What's this?
Whoa, how did that happen?
Well, viewers and lady in the airplane, I give you the very abridged version of how Cortez conquered the Aztec Empire. Ha! Yay, I'm in the New World now! Take that, Velasquez! I'm going rogue and I can do what I want now! Ha! Hey man, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm just conquering everything. Who are you? Oh my gosh. I'm Montezuma of the Aztec Empire, and I brought a bunch of gold. Will you please go home and leave me alone? Whoa, where did you get all that? We have a bunch of it. Show me. Here's our capital city of Tenochtitlan. Wow, that's pretty big. It's gotta be the biggest city in the world at the time. Yeah. In the year 1519, it's 6 times bigger than London. Population-wise, that is.
Wow, so that's what happened?
Well, not entirely. The real history is so much more complicated than this. But I will provide a link in the description for another video that explains it a lot better.
So, what happens next?
Well, historians debate as to exactly how this came about. But somehow, Cortez managed to capture Montezuma and place him under a sort of house arrest, where he became the puppet governor of the entire Aztec Empire, where Cortez was really pulling the strings. Yes, except what happens next was totally unexpected for Cortez, because you have to remember, he's still an outlaw to the Spanish government, which is why Velasquez sent Narvaez, remember him, to go catch Cortez and stop him. Cortez decided he had to be there to fend off Narvaez, but he had to leave someone to watch over Montezuma. He decided to go with Pedro de Alvarado, who single-handedly, accidentally, in the span of 2 months, collapsed almost the entire Aztec Empire, throwing the capital city of Tenochtitlan into civil and political turmoil as violence reigned in the streets, and the Aztecs installed a new emperor instead of Montezuma as they realized he was just a puppet of the Spanish. And everything was total chaos.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
Well, Cortez got back, and he kind of went, yeah, this was fun, but I think it's time to go home now. So, surprisingly, he managed to leave the city unharmed, where, after finishing off what remained of the Aztec Empire later, he sailed on to Cuba, where he was forgiven by Velasquez after he brought home a boatload of gold. But this is where I'm going to have to end this video.
No, come on, not a part 3. My phone's still out of power.
There will be plenty of parts if we're going to cover all of European imperialism across the entire world.
Fine, I'll wait.
But as of right now, this video has to come to an end if I'm going to keep it under my 10-minute give or take threshold. There are so many other things I could have talked about in this video too. We really just barely scratched the surface. And I encourage you to research this history on your own and watch other videos because it's really quite interesting. See you next time. Bye.